Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 2017, and welcome back to, this is going to be our last episode on Maplewood. This is kind of a big day for me. I think this is the first time I've ever finished a map, intentionally, maybe? Is that a good word to say it? I know we've had some maps that we stopped working on. Oh, here we go. We had some maps that we stopped working on, but we didn't really do it, what I would call like gracefully or intentionally, you know? We just kind of, for one reason or another, we just stopped. And I think the most episodes we've ever done on a farm is Upton, which is also a Lancyboi farm. And we sort of stopped that one suddenly to start this one. I think, yeah, if I recall, and this map kind of snuck up on me. This map and Thornbrook both snuck up on me. Now, when I put that header on this trailer, I did my very best to like keep it all the way to the low side. So I'm hoping that it's going to come off a little easier. And it sort of does. Yeah, I'd say that's easier than some of the other times we've tried to pull it off there. Right. Immediate save game. Okay. We just started. Well, no, I take that back. I've been doing things off camera, so it's not quite immediate. Okay, so let us, I'm going to pause this for a second. Hop out. And we need to extend our little spikes here. There we go. There's one. And there's two. So yeah, we're going to harvest canola today. And this will be... We're going to have to leave some things undone, I suppose, on... Come on. Now, there it goes. We're going to have to leave some things undone on Maplewood, but I got to thinking about closing down a farm, and I realized you would almost always need to do that, would you not? I think you would, because... So this farm, as an example, let's say we were not going to... what do we need? Eco mode off. There we go. Let's say we were not going to... Doing too many things at once. Let's say we weren't going to stop working on this map, right? So as we got done harvesting these fields, we would start to prep them for next year. And I tend to prep things more in the fall than in the spring. It's just a habit that I'm in. So we would prep these fields, and we wouldn't necessarily want to stop our series like in the middle of prep work. I mean, maybe in the middle of winter, I guess would be the best time to do it. But if we stopped in the middle of winter, then we would have put work into prepping fields that we knew we were never going to plant. So I guess what I'm saying is I can't see a good time to really leave a map, which is not to say, you know, you do it suddenly like I did on Upton or Northstone. But at the same time, I guess there's always something going on a farm in real life. So, like as an example, if you were going to sell a farm in real life, if you were going to sell it in the spring, it's not like in the fall you would just quit working on it. A farm goes to pieces if you're not constantly doing things. So maybe we have a little bit of that sort of carried over to farm sim life, where it's weird to think about stopping a map because, like, when do you do it? So we're just going to harvest up this canola. We may do all of it. I'll keep an eye on the time. We may do all of it. I think I'd like to do all of it because I don't know that I've ever really finished harvesting a field on camera. I got in the habit, particularly on Lone Oak, which had really, really big fields. I got in the habit of kind of starting something on camera, just to give you an idea of what it was we were doing and what it was going to look like. I would start it on camera and then I would finish it off camera. But you get that, what is it, the ASMR? The most satisfying videos in the world. That things like that, you want to finish them on camera, maybe because it's so satisfying to like see something completed. I don't know. But you know, this is all still a work in progress for me. I'm still figuring out how I want to do things, and I see a lot of other YouTubers, and I get a lot of, I guess, input from them or inspiration. That's a better word. I get inspiration from them as far as how I want to do things, but I'm always mindful of, well, I guess two things. I'm mindful of the fact that I have my own idea about how I want to do things as well. I do want the channel to be personal and unique and whatever. And also, you know, you can't be copying. You can't just do what everybody else does. Not because you need to be unique, but because it's sort of disrespectful to them. Like, that's their thing. You get to figure out your own thing. You can't just do what somebody else does. And in fact, the other day I was looking for a tutorial. I just totally like blanked out there for a second. I was looking for a tutorial on how to do something in ETS trailer skins, and I found a video on YouTube, and when I looked down in the comments, I saw a bunch of people saying, man, this isn't even your video. You downloaded this, put new music on it, and uploaded it as your own. That's why there's no talking. Like, he took the talking out, the other person speaking from the original video. He just deleted the sound and added some music. And I guess that's, to me, that's like the worst example of it. Like, you gotta do your own work in this, well, in this life, but, you know, in this sim as well. Do your own thing. Come up with your own angle. So for those two reasons, I would not just do what anybody else is doing. I want to do my own thing. So we're at 60% from one headland. Now what do we want to do? We're not going to make it around a second time. Okay, let's think about this. So go down here. We'll lift the header. Let's go. Let's see if we can go down and back. Let's see if we can even get turned around here. I'm hearing a sound, but I can't tell if that's a plane outside. Oh, it's a helicopter outside. Okay. You know what? Let's do it right. If it's the last episode, let's do it right. And what I was told by a real farmer was you don't want to make super sharp turns with your combine harvester when the header is down. Does funny things, makes funny things happen. So we'll try to make a more shallow turn. So yeah, this is now the reason this is the last episode of Maplewood is I'm not going to have time to do another episode before FS19 drops, because today is the 12th for me. It'll be the 13th for you. That's a week. And later this week we'll do probably Herman's Eck, and then next week we'll do Thornbrook, and then we'll be into FS19. So I don't want to have 3 FS17 maps going when 19 drops. I may keep 1 or 2 going, because I don't know how good 19 is going to be. Well, I don't know how good it's going to be at all, but I really don't know how good it's going to be until we get some mods in there. I'm preparing myself emotionally. I've told you this before. I'm preparing myself for the fact that FS19 is going to be FS17 with slightly improved graphics, and that really nothing else is going to be different. You can ride a horse. I don't care about riding a horse. I don't. I think that's a novelty, and I think that's when we can look at the Farm Sim series and realize that without mods, this is a kid's game. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, that's the sort of thing, like, I don't know any serious sim farmers that are looking at it like, oh, fantastic, I get to ride a horse. You know, that's not, as far as I know, that's not something that sim farmers are really into. So, you see what I'm saying. You see what I'm getting at. So, to me, that's worst case scenario. It's just Farm Sim 17 with tuned up graphics. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, graphics are graphics, and they definitely add to the immersion. Unless the game runs so hot that you have to turn the graphics down to be able to run it, and it ends up looking like FS17 anyway. You know what I'm saying? You do. I'm going to, so our 7 Series John Deere tractor does not have to start from a dead stop and go up this hill with a kind of a decent load of grain on it. Canola is a heavy crop. I'm going to take this thing up to the top of the hill and load it up there. Well, this thing's pretty heavily loaded too. I'll load it up here and just leave the tipper up there, at least for the moment. So that is one scenario. The other scenario is, and I complete that thought. That first scenario, I guess what I'm getting at is, if FS19 is more or less FS17, then we're going to keep playing FS17 because I'm really going to miss my mods. I really, really am. Now, I think there's supposed to be some things in FS19. I've heard Seasons or something like Seasons will be in FS19. It better be. That is my understanding. I've also heard that Dynamic Hose, they sort of tested it in the Big Bud pack, that there were some, now they weren't electrical and hydraulic, they were more like the hoses to take seed from a tank down to the actual header. So I'm gonna put this right here. Set the brake. Golly, that thing is loud. But I've heard that Dynamic Hose are supposed to be in the sim natively. I don't know if it's going to have GPS. I don't know if it's going to have Gearbox. I doubt it. I don't know if it's going to have more realistic. I doubt it. So some of the... Wow, man, look at the collision on this trailer. Ugh. All right, we'll go around it. So a lot of the mods that I really sort of rely on consistently are not going to be in the sim from day one. Potentially not ever, but certainly not from day one. So that's going to be kind of weird for me. And I'm hoping that, I really am, I'm hoping that the sim is good enough and there are enough other good things going on, good new things, that we don't really notice that or sweat it, you know, that we're not, well, I don't know. I'm preparing myself both ways. I'm preparing myself to be just like blown away, and I'm also preparing myself to be very disappointed and see that this is more or less just FS17. Could go either way. Now, for some reason, well, there's a couple of things going on. One thing is, all my vehicles keep defaulting to the eco mode in Gearbox. So while that's loading, let's go over here and do this. Yeah, eco mode keeps turning on. It's not a big deal, but you lose power. The engine sort of detunes itself a little bit, and you don't have a ton of power. I noticed it. I think I was trying to go up a hill or something, and the tractor just seemed to have no power, but we'll get it sorted out. Right, so that goes there. This goes, why is our header down? When did that happen? Did I drive up the hill with the header down? I certainly hope not. Oh, that'd be terrible. Well, we need it down now because we're going to go harvest this canola. Oh, man. You know, some days I feel like a pretty good fake farmer, and other days I feel like the world's worst fake farmer. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So yeah, and, you know, best case scenario, yes, it's going to have Seasons or something like Seasons. Yes, it's going to have terrain deformation. It's going to have dynamic hoses. It's going to have better AI where you can send the workers from place to place on the map and tell them to do things. So I'm prepared either way. But I guess what I was getting at is I plan to keep at least one, maybe two maps from FS17 going. And we'll tie those off gracefully too. And depending on what is available for Seasons, I mean, something about farming in the fall, like running a sim farm in the fall in real life, even though it's not fall on the farm, something about that just works for me. I know there's some YouTubers that do like special kind of holiday episodes, Christmas Eve special, and it's really nice. I have to say, it really is. I'm not like getting all sentimental on you or anything, but it's just a nice thing. And I guess so for that reason I have sort of an association of farming in the fall in real life when it's kind of cool outside, and then when you throw in Seasons and you can make it snow in the game and that sort of thing. it would be nice to have some kind of seasons, I don't know, something. And Christmas is only a month away, so maybe we'll keep one FS17 map going through Christmas. I don't know. I mean, if the game is just awful, we'll keep both of them going, and we'll wait for the mods to fix it. And you know, I was thinking about that too yesterday. And I was thinking about Giants and Focus, and you know, they're corporations. They're in business to make money. And I was wondering, I mean, they have to know about the mods. I mean, they have a mod contest. Like, they have to know how good the mods are and how many people download and use mods. They have to be able to see that. And I started thinking, like, are they sort of relying on the mod makers to keep their game alive? You know, what would this game be without mods? I don't think it would be as big as it is. I know it wouldn't be. So, are the developers putting too much pressure on the modders to keep their game afloat? And I don't have an answer for that. I don't know the developers, and when I say that, I don't necessarily mean it in a bad way. But I almost mean it in a bad way, because that's, to me, that's, you know, they're sort of shirking on their end. Like, they don't need to make the game as good as it could be, because the modders will fix it. The modders will bring it up to speed based on community feedback, and since the modders are very often serious players, like, they'll know what people want, and you know what I mean? I hope that's not the case. I mean, they have to know that mods add to the game, but there's a difference between adding to the game and keeping the game alive, keeping the sim alive, keeping them in business, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So we'll see. I'm prepared to go either way. I don't want to be disappointed, but I also don't want to be too negative about it. So we'll see. But yeah, it's a week away, man. I can't believe it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just really not sure what to expect as far as content. And I know there've been trailers, there've been teasers, people are talking about various things. I've seen a lot of equipment, but I haven't seen a lot of real talk about gameplay, you know? And that's what scares me a little bit, is I haven't seen a lot of talk about AI. I haven't seen a lot of talk about seasons. I'm just not seeing those things. So could be that they're there and I'm just not seeing them. I don't know. I think I've got enough room down here. I can turn and just work back across the top. And I think we got enough room in the tank. We can do one more. Yeah, I think so. I do like this combine. You know, it gets, at a certain point, it gets kind of, I mean, I know some people can build actual models in Blender, which is awesome. I know some people can only like reskin existing models. And then somewhere in the middle are people that take an existing model, they reskin it, but then they also add things to it and like completely change the functionality. So I feel like this is somewhere in the middle. Like, the shape of this looks familiar. I think this is maybe a base game combine, maybe, I don't know. Or maybe something from FS15, or a mod from FS15. I don't know. But it all gets very complex, maybe. It gets kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Interwoven. You know what I mean? Or maybe I don't know what I mean. Basically, I'm saying I like this combine, but I don't know what it actually is. I don't know if it represents a real John Deere combine or if it's just a reskin of another brand. I like it. Well, I shouldn't say just a reskin of another brand, because it's got features that you don't see in like every reskinned combine. So, choose my words a little more carefully there. Right, this time I will definitely remember to lift the header. Yeah, I think, I'll check on the replay, but I think I drove up this hill with the header down. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I really am. I love farming. I'd like to think I'm not terrible at sim farming, but I do make some dumb mistakes sometimes. But you know what? It's only a game. You know? Who cares? Now, when I say that, please keep in mind that I'm half kidding. You know, I don't get really upset or like fired up about little mistakes, but I also don't. I do try to be realistic. I don't just want to flail around and act a fool when I'm farming. So now I'm going to let me see. Have we done half? I think we've done slightly more than half of this field with all we've taken off so far. So that means we're still going to have a little bit of room in our tipper. So that means if I fill this combine harvester one more time, right, and then bring it over and tip a little bit, yeah, well, I mean, we're going to have to do it that way. So we sort of have no choice. So put that away. Let's do this. Get a better angle. There we go. So yeah, let me know what your expectations are for FS19. I've heard everything, man. Heard everything. From it's going to be like a game changer, so to speak, to it's just 17 with better graphics that a lot of people won't be able to see anyway because their machines won't be able to render them. And I'm curious, GPS, Proceed, Gearbox, more realistic. I think some of those are in the Giants Mod Hub and some of them are not. And I know the ones that aren't, you can very often go to GitHub and get, I call it the source code. It's not quite source code. It's not exactly the right term for it, but it's close. And you have to sort of make the mod file yourself. You know, not the mod desk, but you have to zip it and have it in the right format and everything. They do it that way so that if you know how to work with mods, you can have access to it when it's in development, and if you don't know how, you have to wait till it's on the mod store, the mod hub, or whatever. But I'm curious how quickly things like Gearbox. Now there could be some type of native Gearbox function. I haven't heard anything about that, so don't know. But I'm curious how long it will take for what I think of as like my core mods to get ported over. You know, it could happen in a matter of days. It might never happen. But I'd be sort of lost without Gearbox and more realistic, at least. I'm so used to, and drive control, I guess, as well. I'm so used to, you know, when you drive a base game vehicle without Gearbox, without more realistic, without drive control, the driving is so cartoony, you know, the way that they accelerate, like instantly 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, instant braking, handling like a go-kart. It's really almost off-putting, you know, how not realistic it is. So I've found a good combo, and I'm curious, well, if there will be anything like that native in FS19, and if there isn't, how long it will take for the modders to get those sort of what I think of as my core mods ported over. And you know, the other thing, I guess I could take a crack at it myself. That is, I have to say, that's sort of above my pay grade. You know, I can write code, I can write some code, but mods in this game have always been a bit of a mystery to me. And I think it's because I haven't immersed myself enough in it. Perhaps if I did, I would like pick it up a little better, but at the moment, yeah, I need to wait on the modders. I'm really not up to speed on what they do and how they do it. It is unbelievable. It's amazing what they do. You know, I'm also, as I'm sitting here, you know, I've said many times that Cattle and Crops was supposed to be like the farm sim killer. You know, that was going to be the sim that was going to like take a big bite out of farm sim, because it was going to be so realistic, and realistic sim farmers would finally have like a realistic farm sim that wasn't a sandbox, that wasn't a kid's game. And I personally don't believe Cattle and Crops is ever going to be done. They can have my $100. I'll never play the game again. I was part of the early access and was consistently disappointed and frustrated. And I understand people are busy and they have day jobs, but they also have like 875,000 euro of other people's money. So, you know, I don't know if they're still working day jobs when they've got almost €1 million of other people's money. I would say they're drawing a salary at that point. Now, you split it 5 ways over a few years, and it's really not that much money. But you get what I'm saying. Like, when you're selling a game on Steam, when you're accepting money on Kickstarter, that's not just some little, like, casual project and people can take it or leave it. Like, you're selling a product now. They really disappointed me. So even when the game is released full retail, I won't buy it and I won't play it. I mean, technically I already bought it because I'm a gold supporter, but I don't want the Steam code, and I'll never play it. I mean, they could email me and say, here's your free copy. I wouldn't play it. I'm just over that game. But that was supposed to take a bite out of Farm Sim. And I wonder if the pressure that Giants and Focus were feeling. Oh, interesting. What's happening here? What is that? What is that? Oh, you know what? We found our manure pile. Okay. You remember on the dairy farm, we couldn't find our manure. We found it. Okay. All right. You know what? Making a map ain't easy. I can't do it. So, that doesn't bother me at all. Interesting. Okay. What was I rambling about? Giants and Focus, yeah. I have to think Giants and Focus on some level knew or were aware of the fact, you know, because so many of the people that are making Cattle and Crops are big-time farm sim modders. Giants and Focus had to be aware of them and what they were doing. And I'm curious if the fact that Cattle and Crops hasn't been delayed so many times and really gotten a lot of kind of negative feedback, that when you combine those two things, that it's like not really, I don't want to say not a threat, but yeah, it's sort of not a threat. Like, I feel like Farm Sim 19 will have a little bit of breathing room. It's not like Cattle and Crops is you know, coming after it anytime soon. You know, I try to be positive. Although I have to say, in several of my videos, I haven't quite been negative lately, but I haven't been as positive as I typically am. So it's something for me to be mindful of. I don't want to get negative on my channel. Try to keep things positive. But yeah, I wonder if that wasn't a part of that process. I don't know. But I feel like FS17 has plenty of room and they don't need to be worried about cattle and crops for the moment. Man, what a disappointment that was. I had such high hopes for that sim. But I guess it's like anything. I guess it's like a movie I mean, there's other games. There are other, like, big budget video games that when they're released, they just totally flop. You know? Big disappointment. And you think, oh, come on. You know, how could they not know that? How could they not anticipate that? And, oh, that's a big pile of poop. And I guess, I mean, something like a movie, you know, people spend $100 million, $150 million making a movie, and then it gets released and it's just absolute crap, you know? And you think, how could that be? Like, didn't anybody watch it? Didn't anybody, like, think to say anything? So, moment. We'll get this unloaded. So I guess what I'm saying is I think part of it is perception. You know, the way people feel about something like a movie, that the people that are making it are watching it. They're saying, yeah, man, this is good. This is good. People are going to love it. So part of it is not knowing, I guess. You know, that those folks can't see, like, maybe your movie's not as good as you think it is, you know? And then I think on the other side, part of it is maybe they know there's just nothing they can do about it. You know? That maybe the special effects aren't what they want them to be, but it's like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. This is as good as they can be, and they just suck, you know? And we know it's going to hurt the way people view the movie. Like, not how they view it, but like how they feel about it. Like, we know these special effects are not good, and we know it's going to impact the audience experience, but there's nothing we can do about it. So when a video game flops, I'm always curious, is that the developers thinking, no, man, this is awesome, people are going to love this, and being wrong? Or is it them knowing that, you know, it's not very good, but there's nothing we can do about it? It's too late. We gotta get it out the door. So I don't know. But I think this is probably, I mean, I just got back into gaming a few years ago, and the first year I was sort of relearning, I guess, relearning gaming and relearning and finding out, you know, everything that's out there. And I mean, even my first 6 months of sim farming, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just driving tractors around. And, this goes here, this does that. Oh, okay, that goes there. I got you. So I really haven't looked forward to a game like this for a long time, since I was gaming like in a past life. Not an actual past life, like in Egypt or anything, but you know what I mean, like a long time ago. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm going to get this dropped off. Let's go ahead and finish this field. Where are we at on time? We're at 33 minutes. You know what? For our last episode of Maplewood ever, let's go ahead and finish this off, this field. I'm also curious, what is this thing at? This is 22, so we should get, what, like 30 grand for what's in here? That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I think we could have been profitable. Had we continued this farm, I think we could have been profitable. Because remember, we converted all those big meadows into crop grass, and then we were fertilizing the hell out of them. So we would have had a massive grass harvest for second cut, plus all of our grass. Next year, all of our equipment is bought already. We've got that ridiculous forage harvester that we don't need, that was tying up a ton of money. So I feel like we could have been profitable on this map. As it stands right now, what are the other maps that we have going? Thornbrook, where we're sort of just getting started. We're still planting our first season of crops. And then the other one is Herman's Eck, where I have to say, I love that map. It's really, how do I want to say this? Special? Is that Is it the right word? I don't know. Maybe that's not the right way to describe it. It's just, there's just something very charming about it. It's a very cool little German map. 18,000. Moment, please. I thought canola was selling for a whole lot more. Okay. I thought it was going for like 1,500. Well, you know what? This is what we're selling it for. There's no point saving it in a silo because we're not coming back to this map. So let's just sell it and see how we do. So yeah, Hermannsek is it's a special kind of map. I don't know. It's almost I don't want to say fake. What's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like idealized. Yeah, idyllic. That's the word I'm looking for. It's idyllic. It's not necessarily realistic, but it's very charming in a sort of almost like a movie set kind of way. And that map, I have to say, like, if you can't be profitable on Hermannsek, I don't know, man, because it starts you off with like tons and tons of crops in the silos, and then there's this brewery that just, it's like, I think the only way you can make money faster on the map is if there was an actual like print shop where you printed money. So no worries there. So it's just a question of making Thornbrook profitable. Now Thornbrook is tricky because I decided to go with Kloss equipment on a British farm because we may be, that sounds like I keep saying this over and over, but we're getting ready to be done with FS17, and I don't know when Kloss mods are going to be available for FS19, and that's a brand that I've sort of always been kind of drawn to, and I've never used it in a video, so I decided to have all German equipment on a British map, which is not, I suppose, unheard of. It's just maybe less common than other brands, but whatever. So we bought, our tractors are, I don't want to say way too big. Potentially they are way too big. Yeah, they're pretty big. But, that's just the way it worked out. It's only a game. Nobody cares. So, are they unrealistically big? Possibly. Were they way too expensive? Yeah, definitely. We spent way too much money on tractors. And we had, for a minute, we had 6 tractors. And I have sold 2 of them because, come on, you don't need 6 tractors. I mean, even if we had multiple workers going at one time, having 5 workers going that's a lot of workers to keep track of. I don't even know if the farm is big enough to have 5 workers going. I mean, you could, but it would be like you would just be doing it to do it, you know? There would be no need for it. You would just do it to do it. All right. So pull that right about there. Set the brake. Walk around behind here. Start this up. Get our flow going. Okay. Interesting. Interesting that we found our poo. That would be... I mean, I guess we could come out here and scoop it up, but it would continue spawning there. I think that's the poo. I mean, I have to think it is, because the poo at the dairy farm never showed up. And now there's a mystery pile in the center of our canola field. So I have to think that's our poo, which is not, it's not a big deal. I know if you want to play this map, I know it was on FS UK, and then it went away and it was on the mod hub. Did it? It may not have gone away from FS UK. I know it was on the mod hub, and then it definitely went away from the mod hub. So if you want it, I would say start on FS UK if you want to play this map, and that's the best direction that I can point you in. Other than that, you can reach out to Lancyboi via. I know he's big on Facebook and YouTube, and yeah, you can generally find him on. I think he's on. Well, I know he's on Discord as well. But yeah, if you can't find a copy of it, track him down, and he can probably point you at a link. But I know I got it from. Let's say I got it on FS UK. Yeah, and then later I saw it on. Later I saw it on the mod hub. Same as Thornbrook. I could be completely wrong about that. There's so many maps. It all starts to like blur together after a while. It really does, man. Managing your mods, and even in some cases managing your sims, like the DLC and everything. I think I have about a dozen race sims right now. I've got farm sim with multiple maps. I've got a couple of truck sims, and then I've got like spin tires and train sim and various other things. Like, it really can be kind of a strange process to keep track of all the things that are going on with all your sims. And I understand why people specialize. And I think where I'm noticing that the most is in race sims. Because there's like 5, I guess, core race sims that I play, and that is Project Cars 2, Assetto Corsa, Race Room, Racing Experience, R Factor, and iRacing. And all of them have Laguna Seca as a track, and all of them have the Mercedes GT3, the big AMG SLS GT3. They drive pretty similar, but slightly different, and particularly on iRacing. Like in every other sim, in every other race sim, I play offline. I don't do lobbies. I can't deal with bad driving, and I can't deal with the comments and just how aggressive people get online. I think it's funny, it's amusing, and it also bugs the hell out of me, and I just stay away from it. It's why I'm not on social media. Other than YouTube, I have no social media presence at all. I don't like the way people act online. But in iRacing, you know, you have to be mindful of the fact that you're racing against other people. And so I don't know that you can just like hop into a car. It's like you have to do your practice laps in iRacing if you want to be not just competitive, but if you want to not be a menace to the other people that you're racing against. Take them out, mess with their safety rating, and potentially like ruin their day or their season. So I feel like if I was going to drive that big Mercedes in iRacing on a track like Laguna Seca, I would need to more or less stop driving it in other sims, because they all sort of like, each one throws off the others. And this is not, it's not the old days, man. Like, race sims now are so finite and so real that you really have to like drive the car. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. I think I am. But it's different than it used to be, for sure. And moment. And so even being mindful of you know, staying I don't know, what's the word we're looking for? Practiced, like keeping your chops up in something like iRacing. You know, you can't. I don't think you can just like take a few weeks off iRacing and then like hop back in. Okay, hey, where are we racing today? You know, there's some sort of more casual races where you're not really in a series, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. I feel like games today demand a little bit more consistency and participation than they have in the past. And with everything going multiplayer, like really everything is going multiplayer, I feel like that's something we're going to need to keep in mind in the future as gamers, that we can't. Let me do 2 things. I just noticed this gate was open. I hate leaving gates open, so let's close this, and we're coming up on 45 minutes. Perfect. We will take this canola over to the sell point. Is this another gate? Son of a... Is this another gate? I think this one's decorative. Yeah, that one's decorative. We'll close these 2. Is that weird? Do you have OCD? Do you know what that's about? Yeah. If you're OCD, that's not weird. Right. So hop in here, break off. Let's get this thing put up. And I'm gonna, even though I'm gonna delete this map as soon as I'm done here, I still want to get this thing on here as neatly as I can. It's tricky with this trailer. I guess it might have been easier if I pulled it out of the tree. Right. I know that's way, way, way far over. Like, you would never do that in real life. But this ain't real life, yo. It's just a video game. It's got to be over that far if you want to get it off. I mean, you saw we were able to take it off, but it took a little bit of effort. Yeah, I always bump my knuckles on the desk after I hit my key combo to put us into and out of reverse. Right. So, I guess we can just put this on the road here if we can make the turn. Oh. Yep. So we'll leave that right there. So brake, leave it running as we do. That's a, I don't know, I feel like that's a very realistic habit. I read that somewhere. Somebody said after equipment's been working, you very rarely turn it off. You always want to leave it running so it can cool down because the machines get so hot when they're working hard. So I've gotten in the habit of doing that. I know some people are very adamant about like turning their machines off to save diesel, but everybody does it different. That's what makes this game so cool. Everybody's got their own way of farming. I think it's awesome. So, right up the road, get this dropped off, and then that's it, man. That's us done at Maplewood. Crazy. Crazy. I still have, I don't want to say I have no direction for the channel, but I'm still letting the channel like find its direction. And it's really weird to like look back at things that I was doing 3 months ago or 6 months ago or 9 months ago now. And I don't want to say that I didn't know what I was doing, but it's definitely evolving, and I think that's totally cool. I have no problem with that whatsoever. That the channel will continue to move in the best direction for it, but it's still strange to look back at things that I was doing in the not too distant past and think, oh yeah, that was, at the time I thought that was a good way to do things. And I don't necessarily mean farming techniques, but like the way that I was trying to do videos or how I thought things would work well. So always a work in progress. But hey man, so am I. We're all works in progress, yo. We're all trying to figure out how to be our best selves, or we should be. If you're not, you got to get on that, man. You got to be your best self all the time. That's not some Mr. Rogers nonsense. That's truth, yo. Always got to be improving yourself every day. All right. That's it, man. Man, I can remember my first day on this map. I got in the habit of not previewing a map before I started recording. I wanted to like discover the whole map on camera with you, and I remember like putting around this map. I think we had a 6 series with a pellet spreader on it, and just kind of driving around this map and like finding our fields and finding out what connected to what, where the gates were, and just the whole scene. And I remember thinking that this was the main farm because I saw the entrance from the road, and trying to figure out like how we would get big equipment between those in the US they call them Jersey barriers, those concrete barriers. So we get this sold and we're done. Really not as profitable as I thought we would be. We got 18,000 for the first load. We're gonna get probably 6 for this one. 7, 8. Okay, so 26,000 pounds for that whole field of canola. You know how long it would take us to make money? Like how much money we have invested? We probably spent 26,000 on that field in seed and fertilizer. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. Cool. So let's. Where's the sun so we can get a good sunny shot on this tractor? There it is. Okay. Let's hit the brake. Hop out. Oh yeah, that's not bad. Up on the barrier. There you go, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for our final episode from Maplewood Farm. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.